All right, here's a view of the resource that I like. This is called ZoomInfo Lite. It is a community version of their more expensive software that is really expensive enough that a company would have to buy it, not a person. But if you have a business email, you can sign up for ZoomInfo Lite, and they give you credits, and then you can spend those credits. I'll show you in a second. But what we have here are some lists. We have lists of decision makers, highly responsive contacts, companies that are high earning, and then maybe companies that match up some criteria that we have. So I'm going to go into decision makers. And so if we are looking for some really good resources or people that we might want to target for sales, we might be looking for chief technology officers. I'm going to clear all of these and look for current role. Let's go with manager. And could maybe, I think we can do, I don't want that. Let's just do sales. Yeah. Okay, so if we wanted to find sales folks, probably if we're in sales, we aren't looking for other salespeople necessarily. We might be looking for buyers, but we can do this. So if I want to spend one of my credits, so this person is, they have their business email in here, they have a phone number, and they are likely to engage. So if I would like to reveal that information, it looks like they work for ZoomInfo, but if I wanted to reveal that, I would click here, and it would spend one of my credits. And so we can go buy information from these companies and add it to our CRM. I'm going to head back to one of these other lists, look at top earning companies. And so we could see how much their revenue is, how many employees they have, what industry they're in. And if we wanted to reveal information for their top executives so we could get a hold of them, we could do that. So that is ZoomInfo Lite. Another resource, like I said, is Data Axle. This resource has a little bit better interface, and I like it better. So there's that. Okay, so that's a review of the internal and external data that is out there. Real quick, I will show you how to get to census data. All right, so if we head over, Google census data, Census Bureau data here, there are various things that we can get to. Let's see what I wanted. I can go to quick facts, or I can do, let's do this one. Oh, I don't want that. Let's try this. Okay, so if we wanted information about someplace in Michigan, and we wanted to narrow it down to maybe a metro area, do this. And say that we wanted to see what kinds of data. We could do business and economy, education, employment, families and living arrangements. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the economy. Sometimes when I choose these things, there's not always data for the location that I chose. So I'm going to grab some and we may get nothing. But we'll grab a bunch of stuff. And see if we can run this. Did it go? Tables. All right, so statistics for U.S. employer firms by language. too big to look at, so we're going to download it. Looks like this data is from 2016, the last time they collected it. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, so what we're seeing here is a data dictionary. So this is going to tell us what the fields mean in the other file. Oops, I didn't mean to ask for help. Stop. I don't want help. Okay, so what we have here is a geographic ID, so it's probably United States Midland metro area. It's telling us the language, and if we wanted to know what these meant, we would go back to the data dictionary, or sometimes they will have a column that tells us what it is. Year the data was collected, number of firms with paid employees. So all firms, this is all of them, all English ones. So this is telling us by language, it looks like. I'm not really sure why. Okay, so it looks like we've received data by companies with different languages and how many there are. So these are all firms in the entire database. These are all firms that are English speaking, all that speak an African language, so on and so forth. And then we get down to firms with less than 2 years in business, all of them that are English, and firms with 2 to 3 years in business. So this data could be presented in a different way. So we could move the columns up and move them around, which if we were going to play with this data, we probably would. I'm not convinced that this is Midland specific. It looks like this is United States. Female owned, all firms, male owned, equally male, female owned, Hispanic, so on and so forth. So this is demographics by different company characteristics, and they're giving us counts. So that's apparently what we downloaded. I'm not going to save that. If we wanted information about, so not business, something else, let's clear all of those. So instead of business and economy, we went to, let's do housing, health and safety. We'll grab that. Let's grab it for the most recent year. Ooh, it looks like it might actually show us in here, so we don't have to download it. So these are the different pulse survey estimates. Okay, it looks like they carried out a handful of different surveys. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they did this in 6 phases. And so they did it in February, March, April, May, June. And so they have, this is what's called a longitudinal design. So they have updated data over time. And then they have the updated percentages over those 6 different periods. So we can see that people who were displaced from their homes started a little higher, got a little lower, then got a little higher again. What was this one? Displaced timed, emotion. I don't know exactly what emotional is. Why people were evicted, chew food for, child one, food scarcity. Would help me to see the data dictionary for this. And I can also remove some of these if it would let me. Okay, so there's lots of data out there. You'd have to go looking for something specific to probably find anything useful. Right now, I'm just kind of randomly poking around. But this is the kind of data that you can use to supplement what you have internally. Okay, so now we'll talk about database technology and hardware. There are a couple different ways that you can design your setup, and I'm going to go through each of these. The hierarchical design was more common in the 60s and the 80s. This is sort of how, when you save your files in a computer, that's how it's set up. So you have, say you have your My Computer, desktop, documents, photos, and then in those things you would have folders that go down and drill down. This is how a organizational structure would be set up: CEO, vice presidents, so on and so forth. It's not very well suited to CRM applications because some of these things might be related to things over here. And there's not a good way to depict that in a hierarchical design. It does work well for product databases because they're a little more structurally separate. A network design allowed children to have one, none, or more than one parent. So say that I have a person here who works for multiple companies or is in charge of multiple product lines, or for some reason, rather than having everything split into these silos, they have some reason to be related to some other part of the business, or however we set up our relational database. Relational databases came last, and this is now the standard architecture for CRM applications. They store data in two-dimensional tables that use keys. This is why when we downloaded data just now, there was a data dictionary that then related to the table that we downloaded, because sometimes we might download multiple tables and they are related to one another, and that dictionary might tell each table how it's related. The stuff that we just downloaded, though, was just one table, one dictionary. But this is how you might relate an employee with their customers, what those who those customers work for, especially in a B2B context, what they have purchased in the past, and relate to different parts of the CRM structure. Examples of software that do this are Oracle DB2 and Microsoft SQL. Some newer examples are Zendesk, HubSpot, Sugar CRM, Pipedrive, Salesforce, and so on. So once you know how you want to set up the structure, what sorts of things you want in the CRM, where you're going to get those things, and how you're going to get everything in, you put everything in. The information that you bring in needs to be accurate and formatted in a way that can be loaded into the CRM properly. If it is not, things will be broken. And a lot of times it just won't let you do anything. So it's pretty easy to break this stuff. The fields may be coming from other software that is not formatted in a compatible way. So you might have to have a programmer build like a third-party thing to translate the data into the format that you want. Missing data might be an issue, so you'll have to figure out how you want to handle that. If there are duplicates, you may want to merge those or get rid of one of them, or all but one of them. Some steps to populating the database are to find the source, verify the information that's coming from that source, validate it, make sure it's in the right format, deduplicate, so take out the duplicates, merge duplicates if you can, and purge anything that you don't want. For maintaining the database, the best way to keep it up to date is to add new data immediately, look for duplicates consistently, audit a subset of files every year. So rather than going through the entire database every single year, go through and kind of maintain different sections of it and clean them out. Purge inactive customers, drip feed with customer contacts. So drip dripping is things that you plan to be done on a trigger. So one way to do that, here I'll look up an example of that. Okay, here's a pretty good example of a drip campaign. So if you have a customer database and you would like to communicate with them, you would set up a series of communications that might go out to them. So once you get someone's email, you might send them a welcome email. You've probably seen these. Hello, thank you for creating an account with us. Here are things. You can also have it send something to them on their birthday and send them some sort of deal. If they make their first purchase, the system might send out another email. So these are things that are happening automatically that the company has set up ahead of time. Another reason you might see a drip campaign send something out is if there has been something in a shopping cart for an extended period of time. You might remind them. You might welcome them back. And there's nobody sitting at a computer pushing these buttons. You set up the CRM to drip based on target, I'm forgetting the word, stimuli. All right. Get customers to update their own details if you can. That will take some of the work out for you. Remove customers who ask to be removed and test with decoy dummy records. So see if you can break it by entering stuff and see if it triggers some sort of alert that says, hey, this is a duplicate or this is a broken email, something like that. And then back to information sources, I've got some links here to these different resources and then a long list of resources where you can get syndicated data or otherwise. But that's all for today. Thanks a lot.